Hello, welcome to What She's Thinking. I'm your host, Greg Schwartz, your coach for online dating. I'm asking a group of women questions on dating, sex, and other topics, all submitted by men like you. To get your questions answered, go to makeonlinedatingfun.com/questions. So here's the interview. What's the best way to get consent? Explicit and direct, or a bit more nuanced? Tell us how you tell us yes.
Well, I think we're in a position now with the Me Too movement where things have switched a lot. And I've kind of gotten to this position now where a lot of men are asking every single moment and every single thing that they do if it's okay if they do that. And I think that for me, that's swung too far on the other end and is not as much of a kind of taken off guard, surprised kind of moment. So I think that if I'm inviting you over and I've had upfront conversations with you about what we're going to do, then I think that's consent for me. But I do appreciate when they ask questions, but not all the time. There's a happy medium.
I agree. I think I'm really scared that the Me Too movement has taken the man out of a man. And I prefer that they not ask questions before doing everything. I guess maybe it's a little bit unfair to expect them to read my mind at the same time, but I want them to trust that I'll say no. And I literally will. I'll get really awkward on you, or I'll just straight up say no. And, but every once in a while, I think it's nice when a guy does ask, but not in the sense that it's like a consent thing, more in the sense that it's like, it seems chivalrous or something. It seems kind. It seems generous.
It's good to check in before you walk in the bedroom, even if you go home, either of your place, but just like double check before you hit the bed. And then if nothing comes up during the act, no need to check again. I mean, if she seems uncomfortable somewhere in between, that might be another opportunity to say, hey, let's just talk this through one more time. But yeah, it really doesn't need to be more than that.
Yeah. And I like it. I mean, it's fine and it's nice if a guy says, like, is this going too far? Are you comfortable? I can be like, yes, keep going. And then that's like as far as the discussion needs to go.
I don't have a problem saying no when I'm not interested. Otherwise, I like a guy being straightforward and just going for it. And if I'm uncomfortable, I'll say that. And I know that not all women feel comfortable saying no.
What do you find attractive about men's bodies?
I love guys' butts. Yeah, just a nice toned butt goes a long way.
Mine might be a little odd, but I like calves.
Tell us more.
I think because I have cankles and I'm trying to breed it out.
So you like if a guy has calves? That's a good sign?
Nice calves is a good sign.
And I'm really into like arms. So I kind of like bigger guys in general. And if they have really big arms, that's super attractive to me.
Just say calves.
What do I find attractive about men's bodies? I mean, I like a guy to be fit. I know that's kind of not specific, but I like a guy to be fit. And he doesn't have to be like super chiseled, because to me that almost seems unapproachable or like unfriendly. But I want a guy to be fit, and I like a guy with pecs. Maybe it's because I have small boobs or something. Some like natural selection, like, oh, I can balance this out. Yeah. But I like a guy with pecs. I think that's a good thing. I also like a jawline. I think that's really nice.
Yeah, chest is my number 2. Defined chest can't be beat.
I think,
and not super defined, but just you can see where it's at somewhere.
We're going number 2s. So my second one are those little dimples that are kind of above the butt on a man, where it looks like he's got some good hip, like thrusters. I don't know what those muscles are called.
Whatever the heck those are.
I would say chest as well. Arms and chest.
Well, actually, so I heard this I don't know if anybody else refers to it. Maybe it's just like the one person who ever said this to me. She called it the penis line. Have you ever heard of this?
This one?
No,
Yes.
Like what Ken dolls have.
That's a big one. Hard to find, but
Hard to
once
find.
found.
I mean, if a fit guy has
Yeah,
a penis
yeah.
line, it's like that.
Depends on
The
how your body's
crease.
made.
It's the crease. They
Yeah,
have to be pretty fit.
Yeah, not all bodies are made that way. Even if
interesting.
you're super thin.
Yeah,
You got to work on it.
yeah. I love that. It's just like such like a unique, wonderful part of a guy's body.
Arrow.
That's right.
I've never had that before.
Mm.
Maybe that'll be the next thing I search out.
Yeah.
Also, guys who have that are pretty into themselves because they know.
Guys who have penis lines are assholes.
Probably avoid them.
No,
Where's your favorite place to be touched for foreplay? How do you like to be touched there?
I'd say for me, it's definitely like boobs, just start there. And so like touching, feeling, sucking, and then it's just easy to start moving down the body and just hitting a lot of different parts of the body as you make your way down.
So I really love making out. So just like kissing is like a huge thing for me. And then like as far as where your hands go, if you're making out with me, I don't really care. They could go anywhere that you want.
The tame version of me would say kissing my neck and kind of working all the way down, and then the inside of my legs. And then the not so tame person of me is just like, I like the booty. And if you're, playing with my vagina while playing with my booty, that's usually a good one for me.
Well, I occupy your tame version as my primary. Like, I think a guy, if he's not making out with me, that's like, that sucks, right? And if that's not something that he's actually focused on, because for me, sex is still kind of tied with intimacy and there's like some romance in it. So that needs to happen. And I would say neck is after that.
Yeah, I would definitely say for me, making out's not a big thing. So just, also for guys to be aware of, like, sometimes a girl doesn't want to do that.
I'd like you to save your romance for later.
Some, you gotta feel it out.
I'm not saying I want to do that forever. Just, warm me up a little bit.
3 hours later.
If we're doing that forever, I'm wondering, like, what's wrong?
I actually, there's another place, like, I like it when a guy grabs my hip area. Like, not like the outer hip, but like the inner, not quite the groinal spot, but like right kind of where your leg meets like your, you know what I mean? The outside of the pelvis. Like there's something nice about that spot.
What behaviors in your partner help you be open and clear with your sexual requests?
Definitely like an open, accepting vibe. And sometimes it's not even what a guy says, but it's also just being accepting of yourself. So if I'm with a guy who's really accepting of himself in that arena, it makes me feel more comfortable sharing. And so like, if a guy has less of a filter in the bedroom, it empowers me to say more and more clearly. And then I think it's also, it's always nice to, I really don't like people asking me questions while things are going on. But like after conversations are great. So asking questions kind of post but also just if you share openly, it will make me want to share openly. Don't just ask questions, like be open and accepting yourself. That's what creates that environment for a woman.
Yeah, I totally agree with that one. If a guy just straight up asks me, what do you want or what do you like? I feel really put on the spot. Like, I don't know what to say. And I kind of consider myself a prude. And I don't know if I actually know what I want in the moment that I could just verbalize it. And so it helps if a guy is telling me what he wants, or at least it's part of the conversation rather than like just like a cold question.
I think to add to that, the communication is really great. And I think it's important up front. It's kind of hard if you've gone into it for a couple months and you haven't had a clear conversation yet about what you're interested in. So I think if you're comfortable and able to broach conversations early on about what you're interested in, I like positive reinforcements and feedback loop of, was I doing that right, and how you would want to, especially if it's exploring something that I'm not really comfortable doing, but not in that I'm not comfortable doing it, but that I haven't done it a lot. And so I don't know my skill level in doing that. So I like the feedback loop. I also think that when guys are really comfortable with the female body and are just willing to kind of touch it and get in there and make me feel really comfortable about all the little holes and crevasses that I've got, then I think that I feel more comfortable, having conversations, because I'm not like, oh, you're not weirded out about various different aspects, but you're just like all in and totally all about every part and inch of my body. I think that's very sexy and open for me to communicate what I'm interested in having you do.
I actually, I'll echo that as well. I think if a guy is really into my body, then I feel safer, right? Like knowing first and being in the context that this guy is down for anything I like, and anything I like will not end up being an awkward thing. It'll just be like, great, he likes that too. He wants more of that. That makes it easy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if someone is super, super into my body, and even tells me like, oh, that thing that you have right there, that's like really turns me on or super sexy, then I'm like way more open myself to say what I like. And I think when a guy says, hey, would you mind doing this? And maybe I'm not comfortable with it, or I don't know, I'm much more open to it because it's a request. And I want to actually, for me, I love pleasing my partner. And so I just want to do whatever it is that makes him happy.
What are your biggest turn-ons during sex?
I love being told what to do. And then also being told, like, yes, that's working, or no, could you do it a little different? Like, I really like that. And I like being thrown around a little bit and dominated.
Yeah, I think my biggest turn-ons are definitely when a guy has confidence and is doing what he wants, because I think I oftentimes feel pressure, like I need to actually make sure that he's happy. And again, like with the confidence and the dominance, like I know he'll take care of himself, so I don't have to worry about that part of it.
Yeah, I think of late, if a guy is giving you head and then really describes what he sees, what he's feeling, all that stuff, a lot of descriptions during, I think that's really nice.
My biggest turn on is the guy working really hard to get me off. I had sex before I masturbated. And for me, it's really sexy when someone's like working hard to pleasure me and get me off and is just really interested in my orgasm. I think when I'm masturbating, it takes a little bit of time and, it's not as fun because no one else is doing it for me except myself. And, I think it's, when I see somebody just, like all about pleasing me in every angle in which I want and sort of meeting me wherever I'm moving, I think that is a big turn on for me.
Another thing for me is when a guy's really enjoying going down on me. Because I guess I feel like maybe guys are in two camps about that, right? And if a guy is like really, really into it, for some reason, I don't know, maybe it's a test of some sort that he's actually like really all about me. I feel like that's like that's like the messy shit, And so if he's like totally down and into that, then he's okay with everything else.
Yeah, I would just add to that. I think it's also can be a turn on when, a guy is willing to go the extra length. Like when you've given up on like yourself, but then the guy's like, no, let's go for another 20 minutes.
Like, I can't move my legs anymore.
Who doesn't love that?
I'm shaking.
That's a sure bet.
I actually, I feel a little bit different now, but I would say up till really recently, if a guy's focusing on me too much, I actually feel a lot of pressure. Like, I feel like I have to respond. Like, he's working really hard and he's looking for a reaction. And I feel like I need to perform and actually live up to what he's trying to do. Otherwise it's going to be a giant waste of time. And so I feel performance anxiety around that as well. Like, I've never had an orgasm from a guy going down on me. So I'm like really scared that that's what he's aiming for and that I can't deliver.
I don't have orgasms from that either. I only have internal orgasms when I'm having sex with a guy.
I'm really connected to my body in every aspect. So it's pretty easy.
I orgasm from my eyes, my fingertips, my ankles, I think my cankles.
I think it's just, I've learned how to get myself off by using another person, but that sounds, I don't mean it that way in that context, but I'm better at someone else, like, while they're there and me getting off, that's the turn on. And I think that's more of the turn on versus me if I was masturbating, then I'm like, well, this is taking forever.
Not a fan of masturbation over here.
No.
I don't think you have the right tools.
Yeah, no.
I love masturbating.
We do.
I've tried lots of tools. I don't know. There's just something really turns me on when someone's working really hard. And so, like, if someone's going to go down on me for like an hour, I'm like, hell yeah. Isn't their mouth sore? Like, I'm just like,
How long is your ideal sex session, the in and out portion, not the foreplay? What's the minimum amount of time that's satisfactory?
I want like 45 minutes minimum to 2 hours.
Whoa. I'm like more like 20 minutes, but it can also go up to an hour. And, multiple hours if it's the right situation. But I can definitely be more of a shorter person. So, yeah, I've definitely been with the guys who like worry about going too fast. And sometimes that's good for me because I get sore pretty easily.
I don't think it's a one size fits all or sort of that because, sometimes in the morning, no one's waking up as early as I am. So I'm like, if we're going to do it in the morning, it's going to have to be fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, there's other times when it's longer. But I think size of the penis matters, especially for duration, because I think after a bit, I get sore as well, depending on the size of the penis. But I would like 30 minutes for sure, and sometimes somewhere between 30 and an hour. But I'm also one of those people who would just like to lay around all day having sex multiple times. So I don't know if that counts in the long term where I'm like, oh, okay, then we have sex, fall asleep, wake up, have sex some more, and like fall asleep, wake up, have sex. Perfect Saturday.
For me, it's probably at least 30 minutes. There is a time and place for every kind, but I would say generally anywhere between 30 minutes to like a couple hours. I think it's really fun to have a pretty long session. And even if the guy's a little bit bigger, it's not like you're continuously doing it the entire time. I think that
sort of pull out, lick a bit, put back in.
You're saying 3 hours just full on, just hump?
No, like I think from the start of penetration till like the end of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I think rolling around in the hay for like a couple hours is fine. But I also I've had the experience of guys trying to keep it longer, like they think that it's like quote unquote bad if they're really short, right? Mm-hmm. And so they try to keep it long, and if I'm not enjoying it, then it becomes too long. So I think it's like part of it is a communication game.
I wanted to add, I think also this sort of depends on how much, like whether I'm on top for how long, because at some point I get pretty tired. Like if we're going at it for a really long time, I recently had a moment where I was like, I'm exhausted. Like my legs were shaking. And I'm like, wow, this person's much fitter than I am. And I'm like, maybe I need to work out more. Like, that kind of thing. So I think if it goes too long, my stamina sort of teeters out.
That's just when you switch up positions though, right?
Well, if it's 2 hours long, I mean, I'm like 3 hours gone through like my sex mix on repeat for 3 hours.
Yeah, I've definitely been guilty of starfishing when I'm tired, for sure.
Do you need to tell people on there what a starfish is? Maybe people don't know.
Haven't they all experienced? It's
What
like
is
the
it?
death trap.
Oh.
It's when you just kind of lie there still, like missionary, and let them do the work.
Beyond the first time you have sex, how do you like your boyfriend to tell you he wants to and is excited to have sex with you that night?
How do you
I
want
always
that
like a little dick in the back.
Tell us more. Please tell us more.
I'm joking. That is like not the way to tell me. It's like
I only got dick stabbed in the back. And then
I don't know, but this might come across a little bit. I kind of, if I was woken up with like somebody smacked me in the face with their dick. Like, I know that sounds really crazy, but I kind of like it. Where I'm like, oh, hi. Good morning. But I guess if it's at night, I like a little sort of like, I don't know, heavy petting, sort of maybe dancing in the kitchen, like groping, little touchy, little rubby, kind of thing where I'm like, ooh, like somebody's chipper. And then if I just see a boner, then I'm like, all right, I'm in.
Yeah, I do. I like a little wraparound, like a come up from behind me and grab me by the pussy.
Dick in the back and grab him by the pussy.
Oh man. Yeah, no,
Follow that one.
they got it pretty covered. There's a lot of them.
How is the guy gonna know if you want it?
No, what I would like if he to tell us to tell me he wants to. Same thing. Yeah, like wrap around, touchy feely, standing in front of the sink, the stove,
throw me up on the counter.
Yeah. Yeah. Massage, like shoulder massage on the couch is amazing. Yeah.
Any massage on the couch is amazing.
Pretty simple stuff in this category. Yeah.
I'm trying not to copy everyone's answer, but the wraparound is pretty solid.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the dick in the back.
Yeah.
The wraparound dick in the back.
Yeah.
I'd like, wrap around with like a slow incline.
Half chub.
A little ass smack,
I have to say, I don't like the ass smack.
Oh, I like it.
So many frowns around the room for those of you who can't see.
For being a booty girl
Don't
like me.
train men that way. Then I just have to train them back.
Yeah, we got a few lion tamers here gonna train you how to smack some ass.
Episode 7.
That's the advanced course.
What kind of aggressiveness do you like in a man, and what kind is scary?
There was a guy who asked me if he could choke me, and I said yes. And then, kind of while it was happening, it just got a little bit weird. It got a little bit too aggressive for me. And then he also wanted me to like punch him, and I just couldn't. Like, I couldn't muster it up to punch him while I was having sex with him. So there's, for me, like it starts to cross the line there. but I love being like thrown down, arms held down, tie me up, turn me over. I'll take all that.
I can't say I've ever encountered anything that I thought was scary. So I guess that's never really been tested for me before. There is creepy though. Like, I've definitely slept with a guy where I was like, I'll take my chances, but I think he might kill me tonight. I literally had that thought. Like, not that he was like massively aggressive and violent. He was this kind of like really interesting, eccentric guy, but I was like, oh no, there might be some talented Mr. Ripley in there too. I wasn't sure.
Who am I gonna get?
Yeah, I was gonna say the same. I don't think I've ever been with a guy who was too aggressive while things were going on, but I think definitely scared or more creeped out by guys who like try to push the envelope in situations where you drank too much or this and that, and where they're just coming on too strong.
If I'm coming away with bruises, I don't think it might have been a little too rough, but I kind of am not into aggressive sex. I do like someone who knows what he wants and does flip me around and moves me around and holds my hand, like, I don't know, just a couple things where he's really running the show. That is a turn on, but I've never had someone who was like super aggressive, tossing me around. I did have a friend who, she was in a room next to where I was sleeping, and I was a little concerned at one point about how much he was throwing around because he was pretty, she was tiny and he was pretty big. But I think that if I'm moaning louder, then I'm interested in it. But if I'm just like absolutely quiet or saying no to you, then maybe it's too much.
I think generally speaking, more aggressive has not been a problem for me. It's been a good thing. And like, it's like when it comes to role playing though, I don't know. There is, I guess maybe there was one time when I was he was, all right, to get explicit about it. It was like a blowjob, right? But it was like a role play thing. So he was kind of semi-forcing it, right? But it was like, bleh, you ever...
I kind of like that,
but
actually.
Like when it hits that like really back part of your throat and you kind of like...
I like that.
I don't know. I think I'm going to throw up on your dick right now. And I don't know how to say this right now without accidentally biting you.
I do think that if that is not talked about in advance, it can kind of catch you off guard. Like if you're down there and like the head is grabbed and they shove your face down in their crotch, it's a little bit more than what I'm willing to take without you just telling me, without you telling me that you're going to do that or saying like, is it okay if I do this? Like, I'm really into it. Do you mind if I do that? Something like that.
Yeah, that's a tough position.
I would agree. Even like coming from somebody who does like it when guys would do that while I'm giving head, it is a conversation that happened beforehand. Because like caught off guard with that, like when you're kind of in it, that's a little too much and aggressive because you sort of have to reposition your mouth and take it a little differently or do it a little differently when they're pushing on it.
I would just add too that probably is something that can be overly aggressive sometimes too is when guys want to go in the back door and like, and just push for that too hard. Just keep sometimes it's the relentlessness of bringing that up can be too aggressive sometimes.
Now I want to talk about the like hair pulling and spanking really quick. So one, hair pulling, I feel like I like it. It's kind of a more aggressive move, right? But there's good technique to it. Same with choking. There's good technique to it and bad technique. It's like if you hair grab and you grab like a small piece, you're like, ow, fuck, right? Or if there's like the choke and it's like a little bit too far up, you're like, literally, I can't breathe right now, right? Versus like
trachea.
Or like on the collarbone. I think when I was having that choking experience, I was like pushing on the collarbone. I was like a little bit worried that something might
break.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like a hair pulling as well, sort of when I'm doggy style and they pull on my hair.
Yeah. It's a great move. And on spanking, I have to say it's like one of my preferences that I don't like it. Like if there's like a one-off here and there, whatever, but each time it happens, I'm kind of like, what's the point? like, I guess I associate it with like weird daddy stuff where I'm like, I don't need you to try to be like my dad right now. That's the last thing I need to think about.
So yeah, I probably feel that way about hair pulling. I don't think I've done too much of that. But yeah, spanking's just awesome. Yeah, it's like some primal animal instinct. You just like, just get you going.
I like the way the sound of a slap on my ass. It's just
especially like doggy style, and it just gives you a whack. Then you're like, yeah.
All right.
Gotta make sure to get some sound effects into this.
Throw in some like Batman. Pow.
Next week, part 2 of this discussion. These women are going to continue answering your questions about sex, including what are your biggest turnoffs? How do you like to be asked during sex what you like and want? And please rate your sex drive compared to the average woman's. Thanks for listening. To help other men find the podcast, please rate it on iTunes and write a review. Also, I'd love to hear your feedback. Which question did you find most helpful? Email me, greg@makeonlinedatingfun.com. And remember, to get your questions answered, go to makeonlinedatingfun.com/questions.